welcome to Knitting Books, etc. Today I'm here to talk about books, or better to talk about the tag A to J tag, I guess. That was created by Jim. Let me see the name of his channel, Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. So he created 3 tags that go from A to Z, but I am going to do only the first one, A to J, I think. Okay, so I even took some notes. Let me see. A is for author. Which author have you read the most books by? And this was actually very easy for me because I think, I'm sure that the author that I read most books by is Enid Blyton. When I was, I started to read at 4 because I really wanted to learn, so I was forever asking my mother to teach me. She gave me a book and I taught myself while always going after her and asking her whatever. But the reason I wanted to learn is because I have 3 older brothers. One is 5 years old, the other is 10, and the other is 15 years older than me. And so they of course used to go to school and study, and I envied them a lot because I wanted to have books and to read, and I wanted to learn actually what they were learning. So I started reading very early, and as soon as I could read, I started devouring books that came from them. And they had lots of they had every famous 5 book and the 7, and I don't know what, not even Naughty. And then after I read them all, I remember one day, it was my birthday, and I was, as I still am, very introvert. And my parents decided to have a party for me, and they invited several little friends. I don't remember them actually, but they gave me books because that's what I wanted, those friends. And they gave me some famous 5 books, and I hid in a corner and read while the other kids were playing around. I was reading the books, and I remember that I ended up that day reading 4 books. So then I, of course, read Mallory Towers, The Twins at St. Clair's, and The Adventures, and I don't know. So I read them. I read lots and lots and lots of books. Afterwards, I remember that I had also a binge of Agatha Christie binge, and I read many books by Agatha Christie, including her autobiography, which I love. But that's it. That's the author I read most books. And it's funny because I'm always, when I'm watching this A to Z or A to J and then the other text, I'm always checking if someone answers the same as I do. But no, people are much more clever than I am, and they have much more other stuff. Anyway, okay, next question is B. Is for Black History Month. What are you reading for Black History Month? I'm not reading anything because here in Portugal we don't celebrate or Black History Month. I don't think. I do read. For example, I have a book. I didn't start it. I have already read it at university, and I want to read it again. which is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. But I haven't read it yet because this month is already full of books and I will be rereading that book soon. But I have to confess that I don't even normally notice who writes the book. I read what I want, and many books may be by black authors or other people from other Asian authors and other regions of the world, but I really don't know. I really confess that I don't pay attention to that. See, what are you currently reading? So I'm just going to show you, and I'm not going to talk much about them because I will be talking about these books in another video. But I am an eater who has more than 50 whips. Whips are works in progress because I am always looking at the shiny thing and and starting new things. And I am what they call a process knitter, meaning I am not just aiming for the final product. I am enjoying the process of knitting. The same with books. So I hear about a book and then about another book and then about another book, and I want to read them all. That's why booktube is very dangerous, because then everyone is talking about different books and I want them all. I have to make a list of what I said I would buddy read and read along in March. I am scared because I think that I don't know how many books I already said I was going to read in March. So I will have to make a list and then I'll talk about that. But that to say that I'm just going to show you the books. There's one book I don't have here because it's still coming on the post, but I am following it in audiobook, which is The Odyssey. But the other books I'm reading, it's The Adventures of Tom Bombadil. I'm reading a story per day. Again, I'm not going to talk about them. I will talk about them in a later video. Then I have Villette by Charlotte Bronte. I have Dante's Inferno. I have this book here. I'm reading a poem a day. And the Brothers Karamazov, that I'm reading along with many other people, okay? So, and I had to stop myself of starting other things. Even the other day I read the first chapter of War and Peace because I loved the book itself and I wanted to smell it and touch it, and I started reading it, but I had to stop and put the book away because otherwise my list would be endless. Okay, D is for drink. I think it's what you drink. What does it say? Is for drink. What's your drink choice while reading? I'm a very boring drinker, I would say, because I only drink black coffee, no sugar, no nothing. Has to be a good coffee. Black tea. Sometimes I drink green tea or white tea. I like white and black. Green is the last one I like, and I drink it also simple with nothing at all. And it's tea. What I mean is that I don't like those infusions with flavors. The same with coffee. Sometimes I am appalled when I listen to people saying, "Oh, I'm drinking this coffee which is apricot and mango," and I say, "What? No, coffee is coffee. Coffee beans, roasted and grounded and brewed. That's for me, tea is the same. Tea is a plant, and the drink is made from the leaves of that plant. So there are many variations, I guess, but I don't like it with flavors, okay? So that's what I drink. And water, of course, I drink water too. So, ebook or physical. So I prefer physical books because, again, I said I like to touch them, I like to see them, the colors, the covers. I like to smell them. I'm a book smeller, sniffer. And but I know that we have to deal with space. At the moment I have a little bit more space than I used to have, so unfortunately when in one of my house moves I had to discard more than half of my books, and I am still feel the pain here. So but now that I have a little bit more space, I am going to be buying some more physical books, but otherwise I buy ebooks because they are less expensive for me, because we don't have to pay post, and they are quick to arrive because, as I said, I am waiting for 2 books. Well, I'm waiting for more, but these 2 books, I really want them now, and it's been more than 2 weeks and they haven't arrived yet. It's also good, ebooks are also good when I want, for example, when I go on holidays. When I was a kid, I remember my brother, one of my brothers, making fun of me because we were going away on a weekend and I would carry a plastic bag full of books. One day my brother stopped me and counted them, and they were 18 books. And that's how I was, and I was, at the time I was 7 or 8 years old, so imagine how I was. And now I feel the same, but I can go on holidays with my iPad or my Kindle, and I don't have to worry about space or weight. That's one of the advantages of ebooks. Also, of course, the fact that now that I'm old, I have some difficulties in looking at tiny letters. So the fact that you can enlarge the type, it's good. But I still prefer the physical books. G is for Georgia. Georgia, do you know any famous Georgians? That is Georgia the country, not US state. So, no. Again, I didn't know any famous Georgians. As a coincidence, very recently I started noticing a book about on YouTube about by the author Nino Haratishvili, which is called The Eight's Life, and is a massive book which I think is several generations in a family, and the author is Georgian, the setting of the book is in Georgia, and so the family is a Georgian family. But I know that the author wrote the book in German. I think she lives in Germany, and she wrote the book in German, I think. But it's a Georgian book that I know. Now, of course, because this tag is going around the booktube, I learned that Stalin was Georgian, which I didn't know. And also, very recently, I saw the channel by Jere, I think that's his name. His channel is Drawn to Books, I think. Let me confirm this. Sorry. Yes, no, Drawn to Stories. And he mentioned several interesting Georgians, but one of the things I love is ballet, and he put some link to some Georgian dancers, and I love them. I love them, and I rewatched that video several times. So I am going to link to Jere's video, and you can then check the dancers he mentions. Okay. So next is so this was H. Oh, I have to check. I prepared, but I forgot to check the author of a book, which I have to find here. So H is for horror, and although I prepared, I'm not as organized as I wanted to be. So let me check here the prompt. H is for horror. Is there a book that really scared you? And I don't normally read horror books, but I listened to a book many years ago, and the book is the book is by, let me see the details here, the name of the author. So the book is by Immaculée Ilibagiza, and it's called Left to Tell. And I'm going to show you here. This is the audiobook, and this is a book about, so she's a survivor of the Rwanda genocide, and she tells the story of what happened, and the way she reads makes you feel you're there with her. And I remember there's a scene where she's hiding in a small bathroom with several other women, and there are people searching for them. And I remember that my heart was beating loudly and faster, because it was horror, pure horror, true horror. Because I don't normally, I don't like to watch horror films. They are very bloody, but they are boring and they don't scare me much. And I don't particularly like to be scared. But this book, it had a big impact on me, and I was very ignorant about what happened there. I knew there was a genocide, but I didn't know what in reality that was. And this book was amazing. Okay. What else? Okay. I don't know. Italy, India, Ireland, intelligent, whatever you like. So I didn't think a lot about and so I'm going for Italy, because I am reading this book. And the reason why I decided to read is that I like when I find references to books in books, and Dante must be one of the most referenced authors and books. Even today I was reading the Brothers Karamazov, and there are several references to Dante. And so one of the things I thought, and I always thought about this, but now seems to be the right time, I am in the right mood for that, is I like to read classics like this, and even the ancient classics from Greece and Rome. I read some bits when I studied at university, because one of the things I studied was Latin, and so I read some Latin writers. But I'd like to know what when I read, for example, the Brothers Karamazov, and they mention the Inferno, I want to know what in reality they are mentioning. And then again, when here in this book we hear about Virgil, I want to read the Aeneid because I want to know what Dante is referring to. But what I didn't know is that this book is amazing. So, well, it's also a horror book in this part here, the Inferno, because the descriptions of the several. First of all, it's one of the things that I love is the way he describes the Inferno, and the Inferno is organized, very organized. And I say that to me that I am so obsessive compulsive with order. I loved it. And then, but he also refers to many people, many authors, many things that I like to know about. So fortunately my edition here is very good with notes. But I chose this for I and Italy because one of the things that this book has, I have to say that this book is also very funny. Even Inferno, there are parts which are very funny. But one of the things that I like in this version at least is that I have the Italian text and the translation here, which I don't know, I never learned Italian, but I am Portuguese, and they are both Latin languages, so there are many words that are equivalent in Portuguese and Italian. So some of the things I can understand, and I like to know what's. I'm reading an English translation, but I like to know the Italian words as well. So this has been an amazing journey. I am reading one canto per day, and I am also following the great lessons, if you want, by Tom L.A. Books. He is reading and talking about one canto at a time. He researches information about it, and in his channel you can find, I think he's currently on canto 17, I guess, but it's very good and worthwhile to watch those videos. So I am very glad with this translation too. Two books I'm waiting for are also by the same translator, which is here, J.G. Nichols. You can see it here, the blurb. They say that it's a very good translation, and I am waiting for the two other volumes, Purgatorio and Paradiso. So, great book. And finally, J is for what have you just finished, and I checked that the last book I finished was a book I mentioned in the last video, which is one of the Shakespearean plays, The Tempest. Let me just confirm that it was the last book I read, because I'm reading always so many books that I may have read something else. No, okay, I'm right. So The Tempest by Shakespeare is the last book I've finished. And so I'm going to stop here. I've been talking a lot, and I will be back with the rest of the alphabet, I mean. Until then, I hope you have a nice time.